Valistia, a realm comprising the twin continents of storm and ash, over which the mother crystals stand timeless vigil. At the foot of each, great cities have risen up over the eons, and around them powerful nations, though the land has been blessed with the light of magic since time immemorial. In recent years, a creeping blackness has begun to gnaw at its borders, the Blight. After the fall of Drake's Head, a realm comprising the twin continents of storm and ash, over which the mother crystals stand timeless vigil, timeless that is, until Sid and his disciples commenced their campaign to bring each one, starting with Drake's Head, crashing down, spreading chaos and confusion throughout the great cities and nations of Valistia. Following Primogenesis, a realm comprising the twin continents of storm and ash, over which the mother crystals stand timeless vigil, timeless that is, until Sid and his disciples commenced their campaign to bring each one crashing down, spreading chaos and confusion to every corner of the land. When ill-omened clouds summoned by Ultima gathered over Valistia, the delicate balance governing the magic-yielding power of ether was finally shattered, and the realm was changed forever. Hidden Truths, a realm comprising the twin continents of storm and ash, over which the mother crystals once stood vigil. Countless eons ago, Ultima arrived here, fleeing the blight that devoured his own homeland, and resolved to rebuild the world and usher in a new and final age of pure reason. It was he who placed the mother crystals in each corner of the land that they might harvest the ether and needed to achieve this end. Storm, the westerly of Valistia's two great continents, with its frozen northern reaches, its temperate marshy midlands, and the searing heat of the south. It boasts a breadth of climes and cultures not seen anywhere else in the known realms. Ash, though slightly smaller than her sister to the west, the eastern continent of Valistia is markedly more arduous. Here, lightly wooded shores, guarded on all sides by 9 unscalable cliffs, having been ravished by the blight still more grievously than storm. The kingdom of Elude is now her sole remaining nation. Sid's Hideaway. Basic information. A refuge hidden in the blighted lands of Central Storm, from which Sid operates his secretive community of freed bearers. While survival in the Deadlands is widely considered impossible, a combination of near indestructible fallen ruins and considerable ingenuity have led to the establishment of a safe haven where those who rally to their leaders' cause are only just about to eke out an outright meager existence. A home for bearers. A hidden refuge built on fallen ruins in the blighted lands of Central Storm. It is from here that Sid operates a secretive society of freed bearers, so accustomed are most so-called branded to ill treatment at their masters' hands that their first experience of something approaching freedom within the hideaway's walls, be it even something as small as a hot meal or a soft bed, can come as a considerable shock. Following the destruction of the Dominion. A hidden refuge built on fallen ruins in the blighted lands of Central Storm. Here Sid and his adopted family of freed bearers from across the Twins made their home. That is, until the fledgling utopia was brought crashing down after its location was discovered by Hugo Kupka, dominant of Titan, in the year 873. In but a single night, the hideaway was destroyed, fewer than half managing to escape the slaughter visited upon them by Kupka and his men. The Hideaway. Established under the leadership of Clive Rosfield, who took on the title of Sid after his former leader's passing and Titan's destruction of the old Hideaway, here a community of like-minded individuals from across the realm has gathered to build a place where people can live and die on their own terms, like its predecessor. It is built within fallen ruins deep within the Deadlands of Central Storm. Decidedly unlike its predecessor, however, it's located in the center of a lake, Benua, across whose waters any invading enemy can easily be spotted long before their arrival. Brenumere, a lake in the blighted lands on the southern edge of the former Grand Duchy of Rosaria, named from the dragon that some tales say created the bison when it fell from the sky. Fallen airships dot its expansive waters like forgotten centopaths, leading some to liken it to a graveyard. Its remote location, far from any trade route and deep inside the deadlands, made it an obvious choice for Clive when he faced with rebuilding Sid's legacy. The Cursebreakers. Basic information. A unit drawn from those of fighting age and martial training among the residents of the Hideaway, who conducted operations to liberate bearers from slavery. Beginning as a loose collection of like-minded individuals in Sid's Hideaway who chose to rid themselves of their bearer brands that they might serve the cause out in the field, the Order has greatly expanded both its ranks and its operations since the move to Brenumere, all under Otto's watchful eye. Joining the ranks. A unit dawned from those of fighting age and martial training among the residents of the Hideaway, who conducted operations to liberate bearers from slavery. Beginning in Sid's Hideaway, the Order has greatly expanded both in ranks and its operations since the move to Brenumere, while Otto manages their activities day to day. Operations are led by Doris and Cole. Potential new recruits must undergo rigorous training and pass an induction test before joining the Cursebreaker ranks. The Fall of the Hideaway. An assault by Hugo Kuka, dominant of a Titan, and his private guard on the first hideaway of Sid, the outlaw, in the year of 873. The safe haven established amongst forgotten ruins long consumed by the Blight was entirely destroyed, and many of Sid's collaborators and the bearers that had been freed from servitude were slain. The Grand Duchy of Rosaria. Basic information. A nation occupying the western reaches of the continent of Storm, with Rosalith as its capital. Rosaria was originally formed from a collection of smaller dominions, all which now stand united under the banner of Archduke Elwin Rosfield. Not possessing a mother crystal of its own, the duchy has long been locked in bitter conflict with the Iron Kingdom over possession of Drake's Breath, which lies still further to the west in the midst of the boiling sea. Following imperial annexation. The nation accompanying the western reaches of the continent of Storm, with Rosalith as its capital, when the duchy was left leaderless in the aftermath of the attack on Phoenix Gate. In the years 860, the Ironblood seized the opportunity to attack the capital. The campaign did not last long, however, as the Holy Empire of Sanbreque soon returned in full force to stake its own claim, leaving the once proud duchy no choice but to submit and become an imperial vassal state. Under Annabelle's purview, the imperial province of Rosaria. The lands comprising the western reaches of the continent of Storm. Formerly known as the Grand Duchy of Rosaria, it became an imperial province after its annexation by the Holy Empire in the year 861. Annabella Lesage, once Duchess of Rosaria, now Empress of Sanbreque, was granted stewardship of her former home and the title of Vicereine, a role she embraced with sadistic relish, enacting a regimen of crippling taxation and constant surveillance, along with renewed persecution of the bearer population. Following the siege of Rosalith, a nation formerly known as the Grand Duchy of Rosaria, occupying the western reaches of the continent of Storm. With the fall of Drake's Breath, life for the people of Rosaria grew steadily more difficult, and countless thousands were forced to seek refuge in and around the country's already overcrowded cities. Then, in 878, Hugo Kuka's forces invaded, piling further misery on the downtrodden populace, but losing the empire's grip somewhat in the process. Following the destruction of Twinside, a nation formerly known as the Grand Duchy of Rosaria, occupying the western reaches of the continental storm. While Rosaria has been a vassal state of the empire for nigh on 2 decades, the uprising in Twinsaw, led by Prince Dion Lesage and his Holy Dragoons, and subsequent death of both Holy Emperor and Empress in the year 878, has left Sembrek with barely the wherewithal to rule itself, rendering the Eris Ducum a subject of the empire in name and little else. Rosalith, the capital city of the Duchy of Rosaria. Rosalith Castle, seat of the Archduke, stands at the heart of the storied settlement, whose marketplaces teem with activity. Alas, the encroaching blight has rendered vast swaths of the land to the north uninhabitable, driving refugees south in ever greater numbers and placing an unbearable strain on Rosalith's all too finite resources. After the fall of Phoenix Gate, the former capital of the city of the Duchy of Rosaria, Annabella Lesage, who once ruled alongside Elrin Rosford as Duchess, now wields absolute power as Holy Empress of Sembrek and has established an administrative government under her command. The majority of Rosalith's citizens fled or were captured when the Iron Kingdom invaded, and now the only inhabitants are a handful of nobles and sundry others who have sworn allegiance to the empire for fear of retribution. Following Hugo's assault, the former capital of the Duchy of Rosaria, when Hugo Kuka's forces invaded, the entire city was put to the torch, and the magnificent castle sacked, causing many of its inhabitants to flee. Rosalith Castle. Basic information. Situated in the heart of the docile capital of Rosalith, it is from this towering ivory fortress that the Archduke and his family ruled their nation. An agriculture feat the founder himself would be proud of. The castle has stood since the early days of the duchy and watched over the rise of its proud nation and the people who inhabit the city beneath. Following imperial annexation. Situated in the heart of the docile capital of Rosalith, it was from this towering ivory fortress that the Archduke and his family once ruled their proud nation. A well-armed Sembrisk garrison has been stationed here since 860, when the duchy was annexed by the Imperial following the tragedy at Phoenix Gate, the subsequent invasion by the Iron Crusade. Following the siege of Rosalith. Situated in the heart of the docile capital of Rosalith, this towering ivory fortress has been under Sembrek's command since 860. Although little remains for them to command, since much of the capital was destroyed in the siege set by Hugo Kuka and his private guard. Phoenix Gate. Basic information. A walled, kept situated near Rosaria's northwestern border. It was originally constructed to serve as an outpost in the wars against the northern territories, but its true significance lies deep within the ruins atop which the stronghold stands. Here, in an ancient chamber, accessible only to the dominant of fire, it's held the rite of ancestral communion, an important ritual in which it is believed that the Phoenix can hear the words of the duchy's forebears. Following the destruction of the Dominion, the remains of the fortress destroyed in the year 860 on what came to be known as the Night of the Flames. The castle's invasion by Sembrek's saboteurs in the battle between the two icons of fire that arose in its wake. The earth is still riddled with fissures and tears in testament to the ferocity of the fight that unfolded here. The gate itself was buried beneath piles of soot-stained rubble, and with its Rosaria's pride falling as the duchy did to the empire not long afterward. Theopodistry. The remains of the fortress destroyed in the year 860 on what came to be known as the Night of the Flames. The castle's invasion by Sembrek's assassins in the battle between the two icons of fire that arose in its wake. Ancient ruins lie beneath and are reached by means of an underground pathway. Prior to Rosaria becoming an imperial province, the gate was of great importance to the people of the duchy, being the site of the rite of ancestral communion. The Apoditry, a place of worship located in the depths of Phoenix Gate, an ancient stronghold on the northwestern border of the former Duchy of Rosaria. A large mural dominates this sacred chamber, where the rite of ancestral communion, a ceremony carried out by the duchy's dominant prior to marching into battle, was once performed. The Docile Army. The loyal soldiers of the Duchy of Rosaria. They serve under the standing army's Lord Commander, whose task it is to enact the will of their sovereign, the Archduke. Those who show sufficient aptitude or who are blessed with significant nobility of birth are made shields, personal retainers to the Archduke himself. The Guardians of the Flame. Basic information. A countersign group of docile loyalists who led the rebellion against the imperial occupation of Rosaria Empress Annabella. Many of their numbers are drawn from those who survived the imperial attack on Phoenix Gate in the year 860, who know full well the empire's involvement in the duchy's fall. They make their home in the abandoned Lazarus district outside Port Isolde, from where they conduct their raids to free bearers from the imperial yoke. As allies, the clandestine group of docile loyalists who led the rebellion against the imperial occupation of Rosaria and Princess Annabella. Many of their numbers are drawn from those who survived the imperial attack on Phoenix Gate in the year 860, who only full well the empire's involvement in the duchy's fall. After their base in the Lazarus district was lost to an ether flood, they moved north, continuing their operations to revive the duchy land in hand with Martha. They finally resettled in Eastpool, where they now labor to revitalize the village hand in hand with the bearers they and Martha freed. House Rosfield. The highest of the noble houses of Rosaria, the dominant of the Phoenix is always born into the Rosfield line, and so it was always a Rosfield who sits upon the docile throne. The Seven High Houses. The highest noble houses of old Rosaria, of which House Rosfield is the first and foremost. They have their roots in the ruling dynasties of the small independent nations that were united upon the founding of the duchy. The houses had a prominent voice in docile politics, but this was silenced when the region fell to the empire and Empress Annabella took Rosaria's reigns. The Undying. Basic information. A secretive order who served the Lord of Rosaria from the shadows. They revered the mighty Phoenix and its dominant, and once presided over the rites of the ancestral communion at Phoenix Gate. Few outside the order know of its existence, even among the highest ranking members of Rosarian nobility, and to this very day, with Rosaria reduced to mere imperial province, they continue to serve the rightful keeper of the flame, His Grace, Joshua Rosfield. A search for answers. A secretive order who served the lords of Rosaria from the shadows. They revered the mighty Phoenix and its dominant, and once presided over the rites of ancestral communion at Phoenix Gate. Few outside the order know of its existence, even among the highest ranking of Rosarian nobility. Their loyalty to His Grace Joshua Rosfield is absolute, and none among them would hesitate to lay down their lives for his sake. At his command, their efforts are currently devoted to uncovering the truth behind the mysterious being known as Ultima. Docile loyalists. Those who maintain allegiance to the late Archduke Elwin and work for the revival of the fallen Duchy of Rosaria. After Rosaria was incorporated into the empire, most swore loyalty to their new viceroy, the Empress Annabella, even more converting after they saw how those who refused to change their allegiances were persecuted. This persecution was only to grow, culminating in the burning of Eastpool by imperial troops on the pretext that their reluctance to surrender Rosala's bearers to the constabulary proved their disloyalty to the Holy Throne. The term had a different meaning in the time before imperial occupation. Rosaria was founded by the union of several small independent nations, each led by its own noble house. These houses reigned powerful even after the unification, sometimes leading to the friction between the loyalists who argued for the Archduke's ultimate authority and the separatists who pushed for a return to autonomy. Martha's Rest, a small settlement huddled atop a rock tor overlooking the swampy lowlands of southeastern Rosaria. Sales warriors gathered in the barracks, hawkers in the streets, while those short on work can be heard singing over flagons of ale from morning until night in the village's eponymous tavern, while the former duchy may want for cheer since being annexed by the empire. The rest is a rare spot of sunshine among the gloom, and most travelers make a point of stopping over when they're passing through. The Blood Axes, the band of sellswords tasked with the protection of Martha's Rest. In the absence of any assistance from the nearby imperial garrison, it falls to them to keep watch on the roads and keep the beasts and bandits of the swamplands from Martha's Gate. Glademon Abbey, a clutch of humble stone buildings pushed above Sorrel Base in the imperial province of Rosaria's southeastern lowlands. The abbey was built in order to propagate the Gregorian faith after the Duchy of Rosaria was made part of the Holy Empire of Sembrecht, and as such is one of the rare examples of imperial architecture in the region. Eastpool, basic information. A hamlet located in the eastern part of the imperial province of Rosaria. It was once surrounded by fertile farmland, but the southward creep of the Blight eventually drove out most of the inhabitants. Following the colony. A hamlet located in the eastern part of the imperial province of Rosaria. It was once surrounded by fertile farmland, but the southward creep of the Blight eventually drove out most of the inhabitants. In the aftermath of the attack of Phoenix Gate in 860 and the Ironblood invasion that followed, many fled here, including bearers who had lost their masters. The majority of the population, however, was wiped out in the culling of bearers ordered by Empress Annabella, and the village now lies abandoned and in ruins. After the reclamation. A hamlet located in Eastpool in the eastern part of the imperial province of Rosaria. It was deserted after the culling, ordered by Empress Annabella. With bandits eventually moving in to occupy the ruins, the bandits were eventually driven from the ruins, and the hamlet claimed by a group of freed bearers and Sir Wade's Guardian of the Flame, who had but recently lost the Lazarus district of Port Isolde to an ether flood. The Purge of Eastpool. The Purge was a brutal attack on the Rosarian village of Eastpool in the year 873. Annabella Lesage, Holy Empress of Sembrecht and the Viceroy of Rosaria, ordered that all bearers being harbored by the villagers be slaughtered along with those docile loyalists who have given them shelter. In the ensuing massacre, Eastpool's population was effectively decimated, and ultimately the village was abandoned. Amber, a sleepy settlement nestled along the lofty peaks of southern Rosaria, located far from the capital. Its people survive by trading what produce they can coax from the stony soil, and what else they can gather from the surrounding hills. Audio Docks, a once thriving village of shipwrights located at the mouth of the Talons, Rosaria's largest bay. Its people were slaughtered at the hands of the Vice-Regency's Black Shields after it was discovered that the Guardians of the Flame were sheltering bearers here. Buet Bridge, a bridge built in the golden days of the duchy that spans part of the bay known as the Talons and connects eastern Rosaria with the capital of Rosalith. It was originally meant to be the part of the Trans-Rosarian Aqueduct that would carry water to northern areas affected by the Blight. With it, employment for local craftsmen and tradespeople, but this plan was abandoned when Archduke Elwin died. The Lazarus District. Basic information. An exclusive walled residential area situated just outside the eastern edge of Port Isolde. It was once the jewel in the city's crown and home to many of the nobles of the duchy. However, the empire moved its capital to the Crystalline Dominion. Port Isolde was all but abandoned. and this once grand district was soon overrun with thieves and cutthroats. Thieves. Following the flood. An inclusive wall residential area situated just outside the eastern edge of Port Isolde. It was once the jewel in the city's crown and home to many of the nobles of the duchy. After the empire moved its capital to the crystalline dominion, this once grand district was soon overrun with what appeared to be as many as thieves and cutthroats, but were in fact a band of docile revolutionaries known as the Guardians of the Flame. Their occupation, however, came to an abrupt end at the hand of an ether flood. Port Isolde, a port city situated on the southwestern coast of the imperial province. Only Rosalith rivals it for size. In the glory days of Archduke Erwin's reign, its streets bustled with traders from across Valais. Sadly, those days are long since gone, and Sandbreck's occupation has been everything from marketplaces to military institutions, subverted to the will of the empire. Cressidia, a village located deep within the wetlands of central Rosaria. It was once the site of an aqueduct that was hoped would carry water to the capital, Rosalith. But these plans never came to fruition due to both the Holy Empire's annexation of the duchy and a sudden influx of feral beasts displaced by the Blight's march south through the dam. Now it lies abandoned, many of its residents having fled to nearby Martha's Rest. The Night of Flames. An imperial attack on Rosarian forces stationed at Phoenix Gate made under the cover of the night in the year 860. Archduke Erwin Rosfield was killed in the fighting, as were his two sons, though the bodies of the latter were never recovered, having thought to have been wholly consumed by hellfire. The attack was widely rumored to have been facilitated by the treacherous Duchess Annabella, although officially explanations attempted to shift the blame onto the Phoenix having run inexplicably rampant. Deterioration of Rosaria. In the year 861, taking advantage of the discord arising from Rosaria's internal woes in the wake of the Night of Flames, the Ironblood launched an attack that inflicted devastating losses on an already crippled nation, robbing it of what little power remained. Later the same year, Sandbreck stepped in and forced the once proud duchy to submit one final humiliation by becoming a vassal state of the empire, just as Duchess Annabella and her imperial conspirators had planned. The Siege of Rosalith. An incident in which Hugo Kuka, hoping to gain his revenge for the death of Benedicta Harmon, attempted to draw out Cid, whom he now knew to be Clive Rosfield, from hiding with an attack on the capital of his beloved former homeland. The city became a battlefield, and amidst the death and destruction, many innocent lost their lives. Stillwind Marsh, an area of swampland that stretches northeast from Rosalith Castle. The odd village could once be found here, but nothing to compare to the lively settlements that line the main roads of the realm, and with the encroachment of the Blight and the creatures driven before it, even these scant settlements were soon deserted. Three Reeds, an area of marshland in the eastern part of the imperial province of Rosaria, just south of Martha's Rest. Numerous shacks and hovels dotted about the swamp suggest that the area was once at least sparsely populated. However, now most lie broken and abandoned, their owners having fled for more habitable climes once the waters began to rise. Hawk's Cry Cliff, a location in the southern part of the imperial province of Rosaria for its distinctive rock formations. There are measured theories as to how the unique stratification was achieved, from natural shiftings of the earth to clashes of bygone icons to lost fallen magics. The people who live in their shadows, however, such as those residents of the tiny village of Amber, will merely tell you a rock is a rock. The Holy Empire of Sandbreck. Basic information. A nation occupying the northeastern reaches of the continent of Storm, with the great city of Oriflame as its capital. Sandbreck is the realm's largest theocracy and home to the Mother Crystal Drake's Head. Under the rule of the Holy Empire, the people of Sembrek enjoy a life of plenty thanks to the crystal's blessings, which they have believed to be a gift from the goddess Gregor herself. Battle of Belenus Tor. A nation occupying the northeastern reaches of the continent of storms, Sembrek is home to the Mother Crystal known as Drake's Head, at whose foot stands the holy capital of Oriflame. The empire has been at war with the kingdom of Valud, situated just across the Strait of Arthur ever since the Battle of the Twin Realms in 865. And judging by their clash at Belenus Tor in 873, neither side shows any sign of backing down. Following the annexation of Rosaria, a nation occupying the northeastern reaches of the continent of Storm, with the great city of Oriflame as its capital, political power in the empire technically resides with the five cardinals, but even they are bound to the whims of the Holy Emperor in those manners of the state in which he takes interest. In the year 860, at Emperor Sylvester's behest, the cardinals agreed upon a plan to liberate Rosalith from the marauding forces of the Iron Kingdom, after which the duchy had little choice but to bend the knee and become an imperial province. Faith in the goddess. A nation occupying the northeastern reaches of the continent of Storm, with the great city of Oriflame as its capital. Sembrek is the realm's largest theocracy and home to the Mother Crystal Drake's Head. The empire is ruled by the Holy Emperor and the one true goddess made flesh, according to the Gregorian faith, who is served unquestioningly by the sworn knights of the Blessed Dragoon, known more commonly as the Dragoons. After the fall of Drake's Head, a nation occupying the northeastern reaches of the continent of Storm, after suffering the ignominy of losing Drake's Head to the audacious assault by the outlaw Cid in 873, the empire set its sights on the Mother Crystal of his nearest neighbor, the Crystalline Dominion. Sembrek's legions duly stormed the historical neutral territory and installed the imperial capital at Twinside. This brazen act of conquest sent shockwaves across Valisty and heightened the already considerable tension between the empire and the Dalmatian Republic. Following Olivier's ascension, a nation occupying the northeastern reaches of the continent of Storm, with Twinside as its capital. Apparently not the continent, with the upheaval caused by removing his court to the recently seized Crystalline Dominion, Sylvester Lesage chose to compound the uncertainty by installing his second son, Olivier, as Holy Empire while still a child. A son's betrayal. A nation occupying the north reaches of the continent of Storm, after its administrative capital moved to Twinside in the neighboring Crystalline Dominion in the year 873, and the soldiers led by Prince Dion Lesage upended the political and military order, spreading unrest and disruption across the land. This disruption was further worsened when Ultima unleashed Primogenesis, obliterating Twinside and plunging the realm yet deeper into chaos. Oriflame. Basic information. The capital of Holy Empire Sembrek, located in northeastern Storm on a peninsula that dominates Olefius Bay and is home to the Mother Crystal known as Drake's Head. All the Empire's major institutions are located here, including White Worm Castle, seat of the Holy Emperor, and meeting place of the Cardinals. Capital no longer. Former capital of the Holy Empire of Sembrek. After its mother crystals were destroyed in an attack by Cid the Outlaw in 873, the decision was made to move the throne and her army south to the Crystalline Dominion, regardless of whether or not the Dominion's citizens approved. Oriflame has since fallen gradually into decline, having lost the Mother Crystal's blessing and all the benefits it brought. White Worm Castle. The towering citadel from which the Holy Emperor of Sembrek rules over the entirety of his demons. With the Mother Crystal rising above it, the imperial capital of Oriflame spread out below. The ivory edifice is truly a wonder to behold. Drake's Head. A mother crystal situated on the Sea of Grace in northern Sembrek, Drake's Head, towers over the capital of Oriflame. Its mighty form a testament to the power and preeminence of the empire. However, mysterious ether floods and the specter of the ever-encroaching blight had led some in power to call that the premise into question. After the mother's fall. The mother crystal, upon whose wings did Sembrek ascend to geopolitical supremacy, it towered over the holy capital of Oriflame. Its mighty silhouette, a testament to the power and performance of the empire. And then in the year 873, it fell at the hand of Sid the Outlaw. The fall of Drake's Head. In the year 873, Sid the Outlaw, along with the certain of his allies, infiltrated the Sembrek's capital of Oriflame, bringing down its mother crystal in a daring and unprecedented attack. Investigations after the fact concluded that the infiltrators took advantage of the disturbance caused by an ether flood to gain entries to the Empire's holy sanctum. In the aftermath of the incident, Sid was declared a wanted man, and the faction he led a criminal enterprise to be hounded across Valiste. Kier Norvin, an imperial stronghold located along the southern fringes of Sembrek's territory, far from its capital of Oriflame. It occupies a key strategic position adjacent the Crystal Belt and is formidable, fortified as a result. Within its walls there are living quarters, a church, a gaol, and sufficient storehouses to see the occupants through a lengthy siege.